In this spotlight video, I have Manish Sharma with me. He's the CEO of Rezolve AI. And Rezolve AI is an intelligent service desk, which I stumbled on because you guys do way more than that. It's an intelligent service desk that's so much more that works inside Microsoft Teams. And so Manish, could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So the way we think about this entire employee enablement space is there are three things we need to do as enterprises to help employees, right? To remain productive and be able to do what they're trying to do and not getting frustrated. Number one is employee support. That means we should be able to support them in their anything, right? Their desktop is program broken, their payroll issues, they have concerns about appraisal, things of that nature. How do we handle the transaction becomes very important. Can we do this smoothly? Can we provide them the right information at the right time? Can we escalate the really things which need high touch to the right people quickly so that they can have that right conversation? So that's the employee support component. The second component is enterprise knowledge, where people are looking for a bunch of information even before it becomes an issue. They are looking for a bunch of information like policies, for example, HR policies, and things of that nature. They want to confirm something. You are a manager. You want to know how to handle a situation. So when you're looking for information, I think you need a very decent enterprise knowledge management system, and that is oftentimes not there in many enterprises. So and even if it's there, if you have a document sitting in SharePoint somewhere, employee handbook, that's not, you're not going to go there to figure out an answer to your question. So that's the second component of the problem that we solve. The third problem is employee upskilling, reskilling capability, your capability to upskill, reskill the employees. That means if something is changing, a new policy is coming, a new process is happening, how do you train your employees so that they are in tune with what strategies you have, what needs you have from them? So it's both ways. So we believe that if we want employees to be productive, we need to handle all these three things, right? You cannot just handle one and leave the other two. And therefore we created a product that kind of handles all these three. As a matter of fact, we measure how good an enterprise is in doing these three things, and we call it employee service index. That means how good you are in supporting your employees. We measure that and call it employee service index. So long story short, our product really helps employees get all kind of support through a channel that we kind of like, which is Microsoft Teams. And therefore they can be more productive. They're able to do what they're supposed to do, and everyone is happy.
In doing my research about you guys, I just noticed for myself, because I have to go one place into Jira to put a ticket for something over there, even for creative services, something I need built. And then I need to go, where do we store all of our logos and stuff over here? And, I had to change one of my withholdings, and I had a question about that. And I had to go to all these different places, even though I feel like we do a pretty good job. I could see how I could have just gone to one place and gotten all these things answered.
That's exactly right. Like we call this problem, like we tell employees, and I have a very nice slide for it. It's like a maze, right? We tell, oh, if you have a facilities problem, call here. But if you have an HR problem, create a ticket here. If you have an IT problem, write an email there, right? So we have left this breadcrumbs that people need to follow the right trail to find the right help, and it's just too complex. And we should not get surprised when we look at the numbers and say, listen, what was the self-help percentage last year? How many people were able to help themselves? And the numbers are, perennially low. So we should not get surprised, because people need a whole lot of help. And we are essentially telling them to figure out 10 different ways to get different help, right?
Right.
And things that don't even fall into a category. For example, you said, where do I find a logo? Which category does it even belong to, right? But you need that in order to be productive.
Right.
So we need to be able to pull it all together through a single channel, right? Like Teams or web or whatever, Slack, whatever your choice is, and say, listen, if you need some help, just come here. Don't worry about what kind of help you need, right? Just come
Right.
here and just talk to the system. And system will figure out that all the business logic of which help, where to get it, which group, system will figure out and help you. That's the model of future, and I believe the model of present, actually.
I love that. because I'll tell you, one of the things that I had a tough time figuring out when I still am not sure who the exact right person to talk to is getting different software on my laptop that I need. And it changes, right? As your job, you get used to your job or something gets added. And that just happened to me last week. And I was like, okay, now I can't even remember who I'm supposed to talk to about getting this put on my computer. It takes 5 seconds. So what you're saying is I could have just put that in the bot and it would have either probably sent them a message. Is that what would happen?
So what it'll do is, suppose if you just had a question like, oh, do I need to update to this software, right? Or you're saying something like, I heard Windows 11, so do I need to do anything right now? So what the behavior is going to be, is bot is going to say, no, no, you are fine right now. We are not doing anything right now for Windows 11. However, do you have any other issue? Say, yes, I do want, there's one particular software that doesn't work for me. Then I'll say, okay, have you tried this or that? If it'll give you a couple of options and you say, no, 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 this still didn't work. Great. I have someone who is online who can help you. Do you want to help? And then maybe you're chatting with some person within 20 seconds of starting the conversation with a bot who can now help you if you are not already helped by the bot. By the way, the bot has already created a ticket for you and you don't have to create a ticket. Based on the conversation, it took the information, created a ticket, put in the right queue, found out the right person in the organization to talk to you, and you're golden at that point of time, right? You don't have to do the back and forth and email and figuring things out. Your life is simple.
I loved that in your video that you can check on your tickets right there, because I still have to go to an email where it says view this ticket, and because I'm not sure where the right place to go is. I'm not dumb. I'm just, it's not obvious.
Listen, here's the thing. We are trying to figure out a lot of things to do our job, right? Like
Yeah.
since morning you wake up and you must be having 20, 30 things that you need to get done. I start my day with a checklist, right? Like apart from all the interaction, I need to do 20 things. Now, is it fair for organization to believe that apart from so many things that I'm doing, I should also be able to figure out everything where what is in the organization? It's just too much, right? Like, and therefore, actually, there are reports by McKinsey and IDC which say enterprises waste employees waste around 20 to 30% of their time trying to get support or trying to figure out things in order to do the main job. That's the amount of productivity loss that we suffer.
I totally would agree with that. And a very cool aspect of this is you have a whole education part. You were talking about upskilling, reskilling a minute ago, but you can also, you can put some learning in here. And how does that work? Does that just kind of pop up for people or at different times, or explain a little bit more about that?
So 2, 3 aspects there, right? So, and I'll tell you why. I already told you why we believe these two things are related. Although in general in the world, the LMS systems are sitting separately and the service desk are sitting separately, but we do believe that these two are going to go together. For example, I'll give an example. You are trying to figure something out to do your job, and you're asking, let's say, way too many questions about certain thing, right? Wouldn't it be nice if there's a small 3-minute structured training about it instead of asking piecemeal questions? Someone automatically, the system will assign you that 3-minute training and say, listen, Jennifer, you are asking, it seems to have trouble in this space. Boom, there's a small training for it. So that's one scenario. The other scenario is, enterprise is going through a change. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're an underwriter in a insurance company, and due to COVID, every month some policy or some guideline is changing, right? Now, how can an organization make sure that all the underwriters are following the process? One, they can send you emails, but guess what? How many of us miss the emails? Quite a lot, unfortunately. And by the way, I call that taking a knife to a gunfight, right? If you're sending email and hoping that people read it and it's like you're really undergunning yourself. The second option is maybe you can make a big training and give it, but that's all. Like if you think of a traditional LMS system, that sounds like a 6-month project. What you need is, and what we all are missing, is an in-between tool, which we can use. Not only enterprise can give this to everyone, but it's also meant to many. For example, if I'm a sales leader of 20 salespeople, can I not create a small training and give it to them if I want to change something on how they're selling? Can I, as an HR person, can I not create a small training about the policy shift that has happened about expense management and send it to all the people? So there are multiple ways to do it. And all of this is coming via Teams. It will be assigned to you. You will know, hey, Manish, you have been training assigned to you. It will take around 3 to 7 minutes. Would you like to do it now or later? and you can do it now later. And then, by the way, if you don't understand it, the biggest problem with some of these systems is it was always a one-way street. They
Yeah.
will teach you something, you either get it, if you don't get it, you move on. But here you can interact and ask questions and figure out what you're not understanding, and the bot will answer you or it will connect you to the expert. So the feedback loop is very strong. So it becomes where the trainer and the trainee are connecting and the content is improving. So this is actually in the flow of the work kind of learning. It is the learning where learning is actually getting affected and changing over a period of time, so that all of us can have a better corporate communication and better direction, that we all of us go in a single direction basically.
I love that the the system can tell that you're asking a similar question or about the same thing. And at some point it just says, hey, do you want some actual learning here? That's amazing to me because I can't, yeah, that's awesome. So how did you guys even come up with that idea?
Well, I mean, really, we think, think about it, post-COVID. I mean, even before COVID, the situation was, we didn't have very structured way to, all these models, right? Okay, let me go back. All the models, traditional models have been around for 20 years. So look at the traditional service desk model. It is pretty much in the same model for last 15, 20 years. You have a ticketing system, you have phone calls, you have emails, right? We have been dealing with the same situation 20 years. It has not really moved, right? Similarly, the learning, there was, learning management systems and they were separate, and these are systems that people usually have resistance going towards and so on and so forth. We said AI is here and it is going to change how we do things. So how can we change the employee? And then COVID hit, by the way, right? So we are already working on it and we had a product out, but then COVID actually really created a spotlight for our product, because now we are sitting at home. Sometimes there's nobody right next to me, right?
Right.
Who do I ask, right?
10 p.m.
Earlier, how do I learn, right? Like I used to go to water cooler and have a conversation with someone, and they will talk about something, and maybe I'll, figure something out. What is the new way? People are actually telling us they are now onboarding employees, right? Because a lot of people are leaving job, joining job. Just imagine you're a new employee who has joined a company 6 months ago during the pandemic.
Yeah.
You're a pandemic hire. How are you going to figure out your new organization? How are you going to figure out the culture? How are you going to figure out? So the our kind of product really, really becomes the need of the hour in situation like today.
I love this. Um, I just love it. So if you haven't covered it already, what's changing in the world of employee support?
So uh, our day jobs have become so complex and so demanding, right? All of us basically put a lot of pressure on us. By the way, I'm sure me, all of us wake up and we have to achieve certain things, and you know, everyone wants to make sure they're in the best game, right? Especially after pandemic, we want to make sure that we are productive enough and whatnot. And I think it's just unfair if we cannot do what we want to do because the system enterprise was not supporting us enough, right? And if enterprise didn't have tools like earlier, then it's okay, but now new tools are there. So you will see a tremendous amount of change in this space in next few years. And when people think AI, sometimes people think just conversational AI chatbot, but take my word for it that there's a lot of different kind of AIs which are going to come into the space, whether it's facial recognition or image recognition or audio, or all those kind of different kind of AIs. So there's a lot of new tech which is going to come in this space. It's already coming in this space to simplify the life of an employee and to help an employee feel connected. As you go into the world where 20, 30, 40% of the employees will just work from home forever,
Yeah.
just imagine how important it becomes to have the right products in place for those employees.
Yeah. And we said a minute ago, what if you're sitting there at home at 10 o'clock at night?
There you go.
Not that you were, because working from home means, you can kind of adjust your hours. And so sometimes you do have a question and there isn't anybody online to ask. So I totally get that. Okay. So we've talked about kind of what Rezolve does, but if I were someone who weren't super tech savvy and, these things like AI and are kind of a little bit scary to me. I don't know much about them. How does this work on the setup side? On the how does all this information even get in there? And how do I know what kind of trainings to make for the education part? Tell me a little bit more about how that works.
So let's cover in two parts. One is service desk. So service desk, we have a very crawl, walk, run kind of model. So at first, just set up a service desk for employees at Teams. Very simple, right? Like tell the employees that you can come at Teams and you can create tickets from there, and and so on and so forth. Then our product actually can connect to any of the knowledge systems that you have. Like for example, if you have SharePoint or Box or Dropbox, we can connect to that and already kind of get all you can point which folder you have the information, let's say employee handbook and so on and so forth. And it can ingest all the data and basically start answering questions, right? You can also add a new information to it, new data to it. It has a knowledge management system, which is pretty slick, but you can build that over a period of time. There's no pressure to do it on day one. And you can keep building the pressure. It keeps learning. It keeps telling you what it is not able to answer. So it's a very organic way to kind of build your knowledge base. And the third thing is then automation, task automation. Suppose you want to automate your employee onboarding, a perennial problem that we all have been trying to solve forever, but you want to use a little bit of AI and MS Teams to solve that problem. We can solve that. So then you can keep building task and process automation on top of it. But it's a very, like I said, it's a, crawl, walk, run kind of model. First just tell your employees there's a single place to get the service, and then keep building, slowly and slowly more knowledge, more automation on top of it, and you'll be able to achieve your goals.
And so do you guys walk the HR staff through how to set it up? And
oh, absolutely. We have we provide a very hands-free approach to the HR management. They don't have to worry about how do we need to take it on board, what technology. So we kind of handhold that process. We do realize that's part of how you work with HR, and to some extent even IT in larger enterprises. So we take the ownership of all that, and we help you. We ask the right questions. We have a very smart team that takes you to the implementation and all that.
And this just works right alongside, because it's inside Teams. It's like an app. So there's not a huge install. There's not a lot of waiting. You could just literally start using it as soon as you get it. All the stuff.
Very non-intrusive, and it's the way I look at it is a plus. It's an upgrade. Like each step will be an update. So first you tell the employees, come to Teams and get help there. That actually sounds very interesting. I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 employees, if not 9, at least 8 employees are going to say, I'm going to try it at least, right? Like what they're saying, I can get help on Teams. Why not? I'll go and check it out once. And if the experience is decent, then they're going to hook up. They're going to come and say, I like it. I'm going to come back and try it one more time. And that's how you kind of build, the adoption, right? And even if 60% of the employees adopt the product, right, to some degree or the other, you are still already going to see a huge decrease in mundane issues, right? So what we are trying to do, HR employees do, is the things that are repetitive in nature, things that they're not really adding any value. How do I do this? Where is my paycheck? It's repetitive things, right?
Yeah.
We in HR end up spending a lot of time on those. But because we are all resource constrained, where this is costing us is, we are not able to spend enough time on really high value conversations, right, with employees related to appraisal about how they are feeling, where human touch is required. That is where you cannot replace the human touch. You cannot replace a good conversation. So what we are trying to do is remove the simpler conversations or transactions, right? Take the transactions a little bit, automate some of them, and then provide so that HR professionals can focus and give the high value added, high touch stuff, which really adds value to everyone and the enterprise.
So this handles IT tickets, HR basic questions, we can even call that tickets, and education.
Yes, that's right.
So that's amazing. And it tells you what you don't have. I think you said that a minute ago, that it tells you the questions that are going unanswered.
That's right. So a couple of some very cool analytics that you get as one, you find out every day morning when you come and you say, let's look at what's going on. And you'll find out what is it employees that are asking today. So it has analytics and reports. So suddenly, if everyone in Kentucky is asking about some tax issue, you're going to pay attention to that, saying why are 87 asked people today from our Kentucky plant asking about tax. Something is going on. We need to figure this out, right? So that's very important. We call it almost like having a focus group at hand,
Yeah.
right? Employee
Yeah.
focus group. That's what one of our customer called it, and I love that phrase. The second thing is anything that people ask and the bot cannot answer, it captured in a bucket. And you can go to that bucket and see what's going on, right? What is it that the bot is not able to answer? And you can keep building that content. And third, very interesting thing that the bot does is it will tell you what kind of content is most frequently being asked, what content people are not asking, what content people are unhappy with, right? So it gives you very qualitative feedback. It's very different from creating a policy and dumping it in SharePoint, right?
Right.
And by the way, call that sometime I call that graveyard of documents, right? Like because
It is.
you
It
take
is.
your documents and whatever your document system is, create a nice document and you put it there, and that becomes a graveyard document because nobody goes and looks at it there, right?
Right.
You have done your job, but nobody's using it. So this is alive. This system is alive. It is giving you feedback. It's tactile. You can literally feel it and make changes and learn and get smarter and get a better provide better service.
So in your video, I saw where it got to, you could rate how, did this help you, and you could rate it. So that's where they find out if people don't like the answer.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, when the bot doesn't understand, it picks that up. If people don't like the answer, it picks it up. If you understand the answer but you give it very low rating, it picks it up. Right? There's multiple checkpoints we have where it figures out how the conversation is going. Right? We can even do sentiment analysis on how people are talking and how bad or good it is. So there
Oh,
are
wow.
multiple ways we can help.
Wow. Okay. And then you said earlier something about an index. I can't remember what you called it, but it sounded
Yeah,
very.
so it's a very interesting concept that we have created called Employee Service Index. Okay, so we always give grades to employees, right? How well you did today. Are you a plus employee, or and for whatever it's worth, your bonus is linked to how well you do.
Right.
How about giving a grade to enterprises and saying, how well are you supporting your employees? Are you on a scale of 10? Are you a 9? Are you a 6? Are you a 2? because because if you're a 2, then is it right to ask the employees to create a performance which is A plus? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
basically, you save money. At the end of the day, the smarter you become, you save money. Your employees are, So this is a new concept. You can go to our website called Employee Service Index. It's something, a concept that we have trademarked, and there's a full theory around it. We are going to publish a survey, and we actually maybe work with SHRM to do the survey together to figure out how well enterprises support their customer. And by the way, there are two versions of it. One we send to managers, right? And C-level executive, and what they think how well they're supporting the employees. And second one, guess where it goes to? Employees.
Yeah. And then you get to
So
see if there's a gap.
exactly. So if the C-level executive feels they're at 7 and the employees feel they're at 3, you gotta think.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll have to talk more about that. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, so let's move on. I feel like we've done a pretty good job of explaining how cool this product is. So let's move on and I want to ask you some questions as a founder. What inspires you?
Well, I am not a status quo kind of person, right? So, uh, you know, uh, no matter what, and no matter throughout my life, when I'm in a place, I try to figure out. I get bored with the same routine, and I have a feeling I'm not alone in that, right? All
Right.
of us, when we are working, we look at the same, and sometimes we use the words like, "How stupid is this? Why are they doing this?"
Right.
So, right. So I think that is what, it's nothing very extraordinary what inspired us. I think we said the way business is being done today has some flaws. This model has been going on for 20 years. We really don't know why document management companies and learning systems and service management are three different industries. We don't know. We don't know why do we have intranets when people don't use internet, right? Like when things are, so we don't know what the solution is to people not reading emails. Do we have a solution to that? People are actually saying that in 5 years emails will go extinct. So the point I'm trying to make is that the life is moving, the life is changing, the work is changing. At home we use Alexa and look at the front porch or switch on the music. So things around us are changing, and that is the catalyst that moves us, and we want to help employees um, get a little bit better support and better handholding than they were getting 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
What's the biggest challenge you've had with your company so far?
There are a lot of challenges. If there were one, I'll tell you.
Let's just pick
No,
one.
I
Your favorite.
mean, one of the things is you want to do so much,
Mhm.
right? Like there is so much to do. Um, and you can't, you have, we are still a small company, you won't have the, you know that's the part which you say, what if I had these 15 features today morning, how nice it will be. You're not going to have those 15 features today morning. You have thought of features that belongs in 2023, so wait for at least 2022. So that's one part. But I think a challenge that we solved, by the way, was how do we get our story across, right?
Yeah.
We were not very good at digital marketing. We were not very good at analyst communication. We were not even good at engaging with companies like organizations like yours earlier. That was frustrating for me because and my fault, I was not doing enough in that area. But since last 1 year, we have started paying attention to that. We have started collaborating with the ecosystem, and thank goodness the ecosystem is responding very well. Our story is being picked up all across. A lot of analysts are talking about it. A lot of companies are talking about it. We are figuring out how to reach out to the right people who are trying to make a decision, right, about these kind of things and how we can provide the help. So it's working out. So it's a very rewarding process. I mean, I started by saying it's a frustrating thing when we had not figured that out, but looks like we have figured this out now, and it's a very rewarding experience. I'll tell you that.
And what's been your biggest surprise so far?
The biggest surprise is that there's so many different kind of buyers. Like you cannot put all the buyers into one box, or even 10 box, or even 15 boxes, right? Most of the buyers are unique, although the problem that we are facing might be somewhat similar. The context of each organization is pretty unique, and you do need to pay attention to that. You need to understand their story. You need to understand what they're trying to achieve, what is the pain point, you know um, and same product, two different customers, even in the same industry, similar size, right? You would assume that they have exactly the same pain point. Yes, some pain points might be common, but there might be something else going on. So we need ability to learn, listen to our partners and our customers, understand their pain points, and really pay attention. So that has been a key learning for me. Don't assume everyone, one size fit all, but this is very, you need to understand what people are going through.
And I would think, tell me if I'm wrong, that that's one of the great things about Rezolve is it's like the same structure, but customizable inside that structure. So it fits so many
That's right.
people and their companies and their situations.
That's right. And people can be trying to solve different problems with the same product. Like someone might be just saying, listen, I'm going to provide, I don't have enough people in HR operations. And I'm just trying to make sure that I reduce this daily transactions and give my people a breathing space. That is possible. Some other multinational company might be saying, listen, I have teams all across the globe. And there's so many questions coming, which is, so many countries. We operate in 30 countries, for example, right? There's so many languages, so many policies which are local, global. I have three centers. It's a complexity that how do I deal with that complexity? So different problems are there to be solved in different areas. Some other company might come and say, listen, I want your bot to integrate with a whole lot of stuff. I want it to integrate with Workday. I want it to integrate with ADP. I want a layer to be created so that people don't have to go look up, the systems behind. So different companies, different problem, and you really need to listen to what end that they are trying to achieve in order to help them.
All right. What gets you up in the morning?
Well, it's exciting stuff. The space that we are in is so exciting. Trust me that I do want to get up every morning and talk to customers and people like you. It's we are in the hot space, right? So this is the happening space right now. This is where a lot of innovation is going, and luckily we are in the middle of all it. So I feel very privileged and. Very with a lot of gratitude. I wake up every day and I talk to customers to figure out what they're trying to do and how we can support them.
Oh, you like to solve problems like me.
At the end of the day, isn't that all of us are trying to do? We are trying to solve some problem or the other.
Yeah, I think some of us are trying to make some, but but I guess that's why there's us, right?
Not to say
Okay.
I don't see a problem, but yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so this is a question that no one likes. I'm going to use the F word. So, but I'll give you some context. So I'm going to ask you what your biggest failure has been so far, but the point of it is not to make you feel bad or anything. I guess I maybe could say what's been your biggest learning experience, and what did you learn? What did you different? What would you do differently? Any kind of elaboration you could have it on that.
When you start a product company, I'll give a perspective that not everyone might have, right? Because not everyone has started a product company. It's first of all, it's like a baby. So it's absolutely like a baby. You got to nurture it. It's a 3-month-old baby, and then it's a 1-year-old baby, and then it's a toddler, and so on and so forth. So it's exactly the same process. Second, you know, you solve a product is a outcome of thousands of decisions that you take over a period of time, and you pray to God that you have taken all the right decisions to create a product that has value, right? And you can take those decisions, but when you after talking to the clients, right? You talk to the clients, you learn what is their pain point, you come back, and so on and so forth. But it takes a lot of patience, right? Like the space that we are in so hard that a lot of companies started around our time, and they had a lot of money. Some of these companies have access to tons of money, right? 20 million, 30 million checks were being written left, right, and center. A lot of these companies don't exist anymore. So the process that you have to go through to persist and to do that, and the decisions to take. So learning has been it needs patience. It's painful. Don't we should be careful about glamorizing entrepreneurship,
Yes.
right? It
Yes.
can be a painful road, right? So you need a certain amount of ability to ability to take pain to go through the process, because you will learn. You think you're the smartest boy or girl in the room, but you're not. Life, and the product company will, developing this process is going to teach you a few things that you never knew. So it has been overall a great learning experience. I've been learning new things. I'm learning new things every day. And it comes with a price, but hopefully you get a smarter with time, is all I can say.
I feel you there. Yep. All right. So is there anything that you'd like to share that I haven't asked you?
Well, you were very comprehensive, and I just want to compliment what you're trying to do. I think this is really it's a very very smart thing. I think HR community will be very glad that they have access to something where they can get answers and get some basic, sanity check done, and some basic, categorization done. I think it's a great move, and I want to wish you well. And I think you're going to achieve great success with that. And I do want to compliment. I think you have the right personality to do this.
Well,
you're passionate about this, and I think you're going to do it.
oh, checks in the mail. Checks in the mail, Manish. Okay, so what's your favorite way for people to get a hold of you so they can find out more?
Well, you can just reach out to our website and press the get started button, and as simple as that. Our website is resolve.ai, rezolve.ai. Just go there and explore a little bit, read some white paper, go to the webinars if you want. If you don't want to do any of that, just go to the get started page and reach out to us. We'll be there. It directly comes to my and couple of other colleagues' inbox, and there you go. We have a meeting within 5 seconds.
Awesome. Love it. Well, it's been super fun chatting with you, Manish, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.